to call, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the City of Menasha Board of Public Works. Clerk Galeazzi, could you please take roll call?
Alderman Collier.
Here.
Alderman Keehan.
Here.
Alderman Zielinski.
Here.
Alderman Spencer.
Here.
Alderman Benner.
Here.
Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Taylor. Alderman Kraut-Kramer.
Here. First order of business is to approve the minutes from May 2nd, 2016. Do we have a motion? Alderman Keehan?
Thank you. I'll move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of May 2nd, 2016.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. We have one action item this evening, and that's the 3rd Street Bridge Replacement Project bid results. Director Radke, could you please give us some information on that?
I can, and Chairman, I'd like to first of all apologize that somehow the back portion of my report did not get copied for the packets, and it contains some information which is very pertinent to what we were trying to get across, and so if you don't mind, I'll ask the clerk to pass those.
Yes,
around
please.
now. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Director. Real quick.
Do we have 5 minutes to read this? 3.
It would just be the back half of the sheet was
Yep.
not included in the packet.
Do you have any more copies?
Director, you could give pretty much a synopsis of this too for the public, so.
Sure.
Awesome.
Just let me know when you're ready, and I'll discuss it.
Looks like we're good whenever you're ready.
Okay. Again, this is for the 3rd Street Bridge Replacement Project, which is scheduled for this summer and fall construction. This project is being administered by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and they did receive bids on May 10th for this project. Unfortunately, the bids that they received, there were only 2 bids that were received by the DOT, which is less than what they had expected and less than what we had hoped for. And the bids that came in were substantially higher than what the last estimate was for the project. And if you recall, our state municipal agreement with DOT had a federal cap on the amount of funding that they would provide for this project. That funding amount by the federal government had gone up substantially from the initial agreement, but they did cap it. Also, in talking with the consultant had secured an estimate from bridge contractors who might be doing this work just a couple months ago in advance of the project, just to, I think, get assurance on their estimate. And those companies gave them an estimate that was more in line with what we thought we would get, that we would receive bids at. But as I indicated, what we did get was quite a bit over the estimate. So at this point, the city has, I think, 3 options in response to the bid results. Also, I should say that DOT will not award the contract until they do receive a response from the city in this regard, because it's a 3-party arrangement. So the options are to accept the lowest bid price and provide funding from surplus 2016 budget funds. And this option would require the city to find the additional gap funding for the project, and to do so from the 2016 budget. Fortunately, on tonight's agenda was the award of contract for Unit 2016-02, and in that project we received very competitive bids, and bids that were somewhat surprisingly favorable in the city's favor, based on what we had heard for what pricing was going to be doing in 2016. The asphalt prices came in extremely low, and the concrete prices, which were expected to increase by 20%, barely increased over last year's pricing. So that was a good thing. And as a result of that, we have a budget savings of over $164,000 for this year, which exceeds the amount that we are short for the bridge project. Additionally, we've heard from City of Appleton regarding the pricing for the Midway Road and Southfield Drive intersection improvement project. And those bids also came in at a substantial savings to both cities and the county, an additional $26,000 plus. And then one other item that we may be able to utilize is in talking with the design consultant for the 3rd Street Bridge project. They indicated that a major part of the overage on the bid was in the area of constructing cofferdams to complete the abutment construction for the bridge. And they felt that there's a possibility of removing that requirement for cofferdams and negotiating that with the low bidder, in that we may net some additional savings from that after doing that negotiation. But I don't think we should rely on that. We in the state are not in a position with much leverage in that situation, because the contract needs to be awarded first before you do any negotiating on that end. And they could execute a change order for that, but I'm not certain of the savings that might be realized. So we're hopeful, but I don't want to count on that. Second option would be to withdraw the project completely. In our agreement with DOT, if this were to occur, we would be responsible for any costs that have been incurred by the DOT and their consultant up to this point. I asked for an estimate from DOT last week, and they currently estimate that amount at $132,000. So in essence, we would owe $132,000 for the right to withdraw the project and then have our old bridge in place and still need to replace the bridge. The bridge itself is in very, very marginal condition. That had a very low structural deficiency rating, and it's also deficient in its functionality because of the limited width that exists there. So I don't see that as a good option for the city. And then the third option would be to request a project rebid, hoping for better results. And again, talking with both the DOT and our consultant, we feel that this is a very risky option, in that the rebid results would probably not result in any favorability with the pricing. What it does is it compresses the construction schedule even further in getting that project completed before the winter months set in. Or the bidders might actually have to figure for some winter construction, which would be more costly than what we are set up for right now. And there is a project closeout deadline of June 30th of 2017, which doesn't only mean that the project has to be constructed, but there's a lot of documentation that has to occur following the completion of the project, and that has to be completed prior to that deadline date. So again, we don't feel that that is a preferred option at this time. So we're back to option one, which is to accept the lowest bid price and then provide that the funding gap from our surplus 2016 budget funds. In meeting with the mayor and with Director Stino, We feel this is the option that is in the best interest of the city, and in order to avoid any further delays, we would be doing that unless we hear, should the board decide that they want to take this to the council, then of course it would go to the council at that time.
Thank you, Director. Do we have a motion?
I don't know that
No, we don't need a motion.
there would be a motion. If you wanted to forward it to the council, then I think a motion would be in order. Otherwise, it was a communication indicating what our intent was.
Okay.
I just have a quick question. So, was there any reasoning behind why it came in so higher from the pre-bid? Did they find something that?
They did. It came down to 3 bid items that amounted to 105,000 of the 120,000 excess. That was the demolition of the existing bridge, the excavation of the remaining material once the bridge was removed, and this issue with the cofferdams, constructing those around the footings for the abutments. That came in just way out of line of what previous similar project bid results were. And they seem to be, befuddled by it as well. But there's, it's an open bid, and I think they also mentioned that there's a lot of work out there, and maybe that didn't help us in this situation.
I don't know if it's slightly off topic, but there is a big concern.
I'll yield to Alderman Zelinski.
Thank you.
It might be slightly off topic, but a big concern down in Brighton Drive is speeders right now. They have people going down there at 30 some miles an hour. I don't know if they think they're going somewhere or what the reason is, but was there ever a thought of including kind of a speed deterrent in there, speed bump after the bridge or something? Because a lot of them have concern. They have kids there, and kids wandering the road, and every houses are so close together. Just wondering.
Yeah,
if that was ever an
there
option.
wasn't a concern as part of this project. I mean, there wasn't any mention of it. Maybe there was a concern, but it was never represented to any of us at the meetings.
Okay.
That is something that could always be considered once we're past
The
the,
bridge concern, it's just something that I wanted to throw
Right.
out there. Okay.
Alderman Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Radke, on the bridge design, probably 6 months ago, we had an opportunity to look at the different railings and the sides of the bridge. If we revisited that, I don't think we ever had any dollar amounts on. I think there was like 6 different designs. And if there was any cost savings from, let's say, item E to item G. So is that opportunity there?
I don't know if the opportunity to, I suppose we could change order, but I asked that question because I was curious with the bridge railing that the council selected and that we recommended was the Texas rail design. And he said that portion of the project came in extremely well. So I don't think there would be a lot of savings there based on his comment.
I mean, is that something we can look at before the project, that design, if there is a big cost savings, if we can look at the difference in that?
I would have to ask how they would go about executing that change order. It would
Do
be
you
a
know if there's
change
big
order.
difference in those different designs as far as dollars?
I'm trying to think of what the other designs were.
Somewhere.
I don't know. We don't do a lot of bridges, so I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with the pricing on those different walls, parapet walls, and I could ask though.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see if there is a large difference.
I thought that there would be quite a premium paid for that Texas rail, but he indicated that we got a good price on that there. So I'm guessing that there's not going to be.
There's some equipment right there by the bridge now. We're digging up the parking lot. What is the city's parking lot? What is that all about with that?
That's the Menasha Utilities. They're relocating their water main to bypass the bridge construction area.
Okay. And will there be for the residents, will there be a temporary bridge put in for them?
No, it's part of the reason that another possibility for why this cost was somewhat higher than the estimate, but I would have thought they had that figured in, that the temporary access will consist of the existing bridge. They will demolish roughly half of the bridge and then utilize that existing bridge as access for the residents. And then when the new half of the new bridge is constructed, they'll transfer that traffic over to that portion of the new bridge, demolish the old bridge, and then construct the rest of the new
So that will
bridge.
be down to one lane?
It will be down to one lane.
And then the proper measures relating to Alderman Zelinski's question with speed, that'll all be, traffic-wise, it'll be reduced to 10 miles an hour or something.
Oh, I would guess that there would be a construction zone speed limit.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And I misspoke. This is a communication. I just looked at the June 30th, 2017, so I guess I was getting a little pushy with that. So that was just to give us some
That's fine.
information. Apologize for that. There are no other actions on our... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, Alderman Collier, sorry.
We talked about having some extra money. It comes out to about $190,000. If we shifted some of that money to the cost of the bridge, or we're lucky enough to do that, do you think there'd be much more after that, or what percentage more would we have to find?
Well, you never know in a project, but they've taken a lot of soil boring, so I don't anticipate any additional excavations, any unexpected soil conditions there. I mentioned the possible savings with negotiating the cofferdam out of the project. So if anything, I would think there might be some additional or some savings as we go forward. But I don't anticipate, you don't know about unknowns, but
Nothing
they-
terrible.
Yeah, I don't.
And then the only other question I have, if we go down to one lane, would we be accessible to those people with a fire truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, there are no... Oh,
I'm sorry.
thank you. Any other discussion? Alderman Nichols.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to clear the air here and just make sure that we're all on the same page, and for the public's sake as well. This was a communication to let us know that, to inform everyone that the bid for the 3rd Street Bridge project came in higher than we anticipated. And the plan, if no action is taken this evening, then the plan is to accept the lowest bid and provide the extra funds from surplus that we have on hand.
Correct. Thank you.
Funds that weren't used for other projects.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Any other discussion? Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Radke, do you want some direction from the body here to check on the cofferdam savings and the parapet savings, if there is any savings on those two projects?
Well, I was planning on doing that based on the comments, and I will
Okay,
do that.
thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.